Hello, my name is Alex Gardner. I'd like to welcome you to Innovators Unscripted. This is an opportunity where we bring together voices that are leading and innovating and influencing the entire ecosystem. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by none other than Megan Pagliuca, who is the Chief Product Officer of OMG, Omnicom Group. And we've got a series of questions that I'll be asking you today as part of our programming. And so without further ado, we're going to dive into some questions. Beginning with the first question, OMG was very early in adopting sell-side decisioning. What made you lean in, and how are you seeing it unlock new value?
So Omnicom Media Group has always had programmatic as a core competency, at least for the last 10 years since I've been there. And you've seen so much evolution within the ability to really kind of optimize supply paths, optimize supply side decisioning. So I think there's both the ensuring you have the most efficient supply path, and then on supply side decisioning with both with kind of moving to a cookie light ecosystem and having more data on the supply side, and the fact that the SSP is actually closer to the publisher, so it gets more data signals. Incorporating those data signals as part of inventory curation, it just makes campaigns more effective and efficient.
It makes perfect sense. I'm going to continue firing away from our little pile here. How has partnering with Index and building on Index marketplaces helped you innovate for your clients?
So when we think of Index, we operate and have an Index direct seat where we can do inventory curation on behalf of our clients. So I think the power of enabling agencies to not only have or hands on keyboard within the DSP, but also be able to manage the levers within the supply side is a powerful advancement.
I love that. As viewers continue to shift from traditional TV to streaming, how is your approach to upfront buys evolving?
Yeah, this is a great question. So there still has been too much video that is transacted within the upfronts that could be bought programmatically that is not bought programmatically. And that's really been driven by what I think is the pricing of programmatic guaranteed from the DSP side. Programmatic guaranteed is more similar to ad serving. It doesn't have the decisioning of the rest of the DSP, but it's a benefit because then you can manage frequency across the rest of your buy. We now see PG pricing dropping significantly, which enables the move of those video dollars over. This is actually such an important advancement for brands and for consumers, because one challenge you still have, particularly in CTV since it was bought directly, is you don't have appropriate kind of frequency management. Even from a consumer, when you're watching CTV across channels and across apps and within apps, you have a serious over frequency problem, which is waste for brands and is annoying for consumers. It actually can create a concept of negative reach.
We've all experienced that same ad frequently, and it's sort of off-putting.
Yes, and it's waste. And so I think with the dropping of PG fees, which I think is important and appropriate because it should be closer to an ad serving fee, it's allowing our brands to move those dollars into programmatic, which will be more efficient and effective for brands, as well as a better experience for consumers.
So how are you working with your clients to drive more performant, efficient campaigns in today's programmatic landscape?
I think that's a broad question. There's a lot in there. One thing that we are excited to talk about today and this week is we've had a big focus on how do we innovate within live. So when we think about live, first, there's not been enough advancement in terms of data and technology, addressability and measurability from an ad tech perspective. But then from a consumer lens, what live has changed. Like in our research, we found that, especially with Gen Z, they think about live more as what's streaming on the social platforms than just the live event itself. So live is now about the conversation and even the commerce that's happening during that live content. So we've had a series of announcements throughout this week. We have 8 different partner announcements where we're really innovating both in live sports with Disney, with Sky in the UK, and with Amazon on Thursday Night Football. And then with a number of partners on live streaming creators. So how do you identify those creators based on audience? How are you using that live stream content versus influencer content versus brand content in a smart way? So that's an area we're really providing competitive advantage for our brands.
And really broadening the scope and breadth around that sort of core live content experience.
Exactly.
Really interesting. There's a massive opportunity for sports and live TV and streaming, of course. In your view, what is it going to take for brands to make the most of it and reach these leaned-in audiences via programmatic? And you touched on that to some degree already.
Perfect question, because this is where I really feel like we're providing competitive advantage for our brand. So if I talk through kind of the capabilities we've announced this week specific of live sports, for Amazon with Thursday Night Football, we've brought this new capability where we can bring in customer lifetime value. So we actually look at the historic look back of a consumer of their purchases over the 2 seasons that Thursday Night Football has been on Amazon. So now we're not just being able to look at granular reach and frequency, which itself is a value, but then also sales, and not just sales, historical lifetime value.
So interesting.
Right, a huge shift from looking at kind of GRPs and broad metrics to now this granular reach, frequency, sales, and lifetime value.
Entirely new dimension.
And then with Disney, we now, we have ad podding available in the RTB spec, but it's not like used well or deployed as well as it needs to be. And so we partnered with the Trade Desk and have a capability first around just better optimizing the ad pod of when a user first joins a live stream, to be able to kind of reach that user and personalize that ad when they're kind of like user session frequency 1. And then passing in contextual signals around exciting cultural moments that happen in those live events.
We've got another one for you here, Megan. What's one piece of advice you'd give to marketers trying to get more from their programmatic strategies?
Allocate more of your video dollars via PG so you can have that frequency management capability, right? We've had similar best practices over time, but now it's just applying to video and CTV of choosing a primary DSP where you're managing the majority of your buy, so you get that benefit of frequency management, the addressability, the
more
value
focused, more controlled.
Yeah, and now it's just applying those same principles to video. One great example is also within the Amazon DSP. We brought in our Omni viewership data. So we're managing reach and frequency across linear, across all of the video buys, plus across Amazon Prime. So your same principles of programmatic that we've been talking about for the last 15 years, but inclusive of linear as well.
That's great guidance. Megan, thank you so much again for joining us today on Innovators Unscripted, brought to us, of course, by Index Exchange.